it's now time to feed our mouth and stomachs, with some good food as well. Now, if you were to think of something very quick to go with, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, whether it's dinner, snack, what would that be? When you are thinking of nutrition, when you are planning your nutrition, what are some of the handy tips, that you have to always have at the back of your mind? This is what we are talking about this morning, and our registered nurse, our state registered nurse, Akusia Adam, is right here with us, and she is going to help us do the honors. Hi, Akusia.
Hi, Frema.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I love your dress again.
Thank you very much. Now
you changed my title. Registered nurse.
Oh, registered nurse.
Nutritionist.
Oh. Someone in a hospital,
You're
right, so we're talking nutrition, and Akusia is here, registered nutritionist, not registered nurse. Maybe I'm thinking of my friend Mercy. Oh. Anyway, no, she's a registered nurse. But Akusia, so we are looking at handy nutrition tips. What exactly are we talking about here? Is it something that is in your notebook? Is it something that you have to chew and pour? Is it something that must always be with you? Write it and paste it somewhere in your kitchen. What exactly do we mean by handy nutrition tips?
Okay, so there are fewer measures, or what we call tips or knowledge as to everything around you as far as your nutrition or what you are putting in is concerned. So if I should meet Frema, if I should meet anybody who has been following this segment for this period, I always say that this is the 5th year of the nutrition segment. And so if you are someone who wasn't even following every week and was following once a while, at least there are some tips you should have picked by now. But then there are fewer tips you should know, because now everybody is kind of concerned as far as their health is concerned, and everybody wants to look like you are looking. After 2 children, you're still looking this way. Don't stop doing that, because it's the truth. And then everybody meets you and go like, I want to be like you. Aside the fact that genetics, or there are people born with what we call excellent genes, there are other people who are deliberate about some of the things they do. For instance, somebody might think that, okay, looking at how Frema has probably looked this way for this while, I am thinking maybe her mother looks this way, her daddy looks this way, her siblings look this way. But then sometimes they enter into your family. I've moved with my mommy and people go like, is that your mom? Because on this segment I say she's Obolo. No offenses, but she enjoys being called that. But then I love how she looks too. I wish I was Obolo. But then I look at me and it's like, okay, I am totally different from her, because she grew up, all her pictures, it's not like she was slim at a point and decided to be
she's always been like that.
She was born like that. She was born big, and she's lived her life looking that way. And so aside the fact that for some people it is genes or hereditary factors that are causing that, there are individuals whose dietary habits or lifestyle are responsible for them looking a certain way. And for those individuals to, just like this weekend, a client came to see me and she looked almost the same as the daughter, and the daughter was the one she was bringing to see me. But then she's bigger than the mom, taller than the mom, and so there are some handy tips we all should know, so that at least when you realize that your body is probably changing or looking a certain way, you can go like, Frema was wearing 8, now I think I'm moving to 10. What is causing that? Is it that I'm stressed up, or my dietary habits have been tempered in a way that I need to watch? So we delve straight into what you should know: your weight. There are people, you meet them and go like, what is your weight? And they are now coming to think about it. This is something that should be off head. I know my weight, that I'm 54. And when I feel a bit heavy, I know that I'm hitting 55. And so if you can't at least know your body or study your body, which is difficult for me to understand, but then I will pardon you, because you feel like you're not a health person.
And apart from that, look, there are a whole lot of things that people are thinking about. Getting a skill and standing on it every morning is not part of that.
It's not even about a skill. But I know that sitting here, Frema, sometimes you feel heavier. And you go like, oh, I think there should be something wrong, or my weight has changed. You definitely hit the scale, and you will be right that, okay, I've added a kg or 2 kg. And so I think we should be sensitive to that part to know, because if your weight and your height, they are not matching as they need to match as far as your BMI is concerned, it can be a precursor for some of the health conditions we find ourselves with. And then you should know your height. And this one is a challenge. You meet the typical Ghanaian, go like, the person goes like, my Ghana card and control say also. It's like they are not looking for their Ghana card because we took their height. But you should know your height. You can just stand by the wall with your heels your heels to the wall, and then tell somebody to locate the center of your scalp.
Yeah.
So with a pointed object like a pen or pencil, you can just make a dot on the wall and then use a tape measure to measure. So I know that I am 160. That is me. I know I'm 160 and I'm not growing any taller because I've past 30.
Yeah.
And so I know that I'm 160. You should know so that you can do your BMI. That's the next point. So you should know your body mass index, where we have your weight in kilogram divided by your height in meters square. So when you measure your height, it will give you something in centimeters. We are not using the inches column. And so you measure as such, and then that will help you. If you don't know how to go about it, speak to a professional. Then you know your body type. Are you a mesomorph, an ectomorph, or an endomorph? A mesomorph, they are lucky people. They easily lose weight. They easily put on weight. The ectomorphs are like me. You struggle to look for even kilos you've lost in years. And then the endomorphs are like my mom. Even water makes her big. So you should know your body type and know how to go about your eating. And then you should know your GSPD deficiency status. There are people who are not
serious.
Yes. There are people who are not aware of it, and sometimes they come to the hospitals and they are. We have a segment on the GSPD, and trust me, I've had a lot of messages than any segment I've done.
But how do we make
show.
that, you know, a common knowledge? How do we get people to
So
know
you
that?
can, as soon as even you get pregnant, there are some facilities, and again I will say that it's a hospital you are going to, because these things, they need to be done. When you conceive, they should check to know if you are partial defect, if you are no defective, or you are a full defect. If you are a full defective patient, then there are certain things you stay off, like the fava beans. You don't even need to go there to avoid hemolysis, which is very critical or very serious for your health. You hardly hear people die from that, but then it can happen. So you never know if it's going to start with you. So you need to make sure you do the right things. And for GSPD test, you can just walk into any facility with a laboratory and ask that your GSPD test is done to let you know where you fall.
But many people don't even know there's anything called GSPD.
Just like I'm saying, knowledge is, we are improving. Initially, when you were pregnant, there are some people who don't even go to the hospital. But now we are doing it. And so I am sitting here, I'm giving you tips week upon week. It's for you to be informed so that you know, even when you go and your caregiver doesn't do it, because I was surprised to have people from the United States condemning their doctors and going like, how can you forget to do something like this? I'm 35 years and I'm now realizing that I have this. So we need to be responsible, quote unquote. And then other allergies. There are people with lactose intolerance. There are people who have food intolerance. There are people who cannot accept certain foods. You should know your body, know what to stay away from. But some people, especially for something like calcium, if you are hitting menopause, we need to avoid osteoporosis. We need your calcium stores to be enhanced. But here is the case that a lot of people, including my mom, when she got there, she couldn't even take milk because you have diarrhea after consuming milk. I always recommend that. Even me, I have not hit menopause, but I don't do full cream milk. I do the milk with vegetable fat, like Creamy Plus works for me. And then the ones with no fat, or the skimmed ones, they work for me better, or the plant source ones, they work, even though they don't taste better. And then you know your family history of any nutrition-related condition. So if you know that your grandmother, your mother has had diabetes, hypertension, hypercholesterolemia, arthritis, whatever has to do with diet, you should make sure you put certain measures in place. So you start cutting down on your calories at a very early age. Have a balanced diet, and a balanced diet example is on the screen, and I love it. So every plate you have should have all these in there. So for our place here in Ghana, it's difficult to satisfy this at a meal like breakfast. So we recommend that by the time you are done eating from morning to evening, make sure you satisfy this, and it's easier.
I mean, that's easy to do.
It's easier to do. And then you should know your blood glucose levels. So we have people who think they are not diabetics, or they don't have, they are not diabetic, sorry, or they don't have diabetes. But then there are people who all of a sudden had shocks, and then that was it for them. No, but they were not even given the opportunity to test for diabetes or DM. So you need to make sure you test your blood sugar levels. If you are constantly experiencing blood sugar spikes, it's a call for you to make sure these checks are done to help you. And then once or twice every year, you can do these tests. Then you know your lipids level. So we have the cholesterol levels. Once you have the levels showing there, can let you know if you are at risk of heart issues, if you are at risk. It's dangerous. It could be dangerous. You could be at risk, or you could have a heart healthy, you can be a heart healthy person. So you should know the ranges, know the labs. So the ranges differ as far as whichever lab. If you go to Lancet, if you go to Medilab, if you go to other labs, the references will be different. But then ask whoever did the labs to give you the interpretations to let you know. It will specify your HDL, that's your high density, or your good cholesterol, your LDL, that's the bad cholesterol that contributes to all the CVDs or cardiovascular diseases we have around, so that you'll be helped. And then know your meals and eat a balanced meal. I've spoken about that. And then feed each member of the family right. So don't give remiss food to a child, because it's responsible for the childhood obesity we are having here. A child eats more than sometimes their parents. And then Saturday was very, very heartbreaking. So she can menstruate for 14 days.
Ooh.
Yes.
How old?
She is not even up to 14.
Wow.
She's 12.
But why?
So her weight has a role to play in there.
Oh, wow.
So I'm supposed to help her.
But is that normal?
So for girls, when they start menstruating, fortunately for me, I didn't experience that. But the first 2 years, it can be normal.
Okay.
So it has to do with their hormones. It has to do with a lot of things. Some of the children are stressed more than their parents.
I tell you.
Because they have these huge school bags, and after school, they have to do extra classes. They are
come
sleeping,
back with homework.
and they are sleeping around 9 p.m. So from dawn to 9 p.m. it's been school, and that stress poses, especially for the girl. And you know that even when you are at our age and you are menstruating and there is stress attached to it, sometimes you have a painful menstruation. So you need to help her, but it could be normal. But then don't just listen here, go, because patients or individuals are different.
Right, right.
And then see a registered nutritionist.
That's why you are here. So beyond Breakfast Daily, how do we get in touch with you to continue the conversation?
Okay, so I'll post this. You can follow me on Instagram at The Nutritionist Akosia, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Nutritionist Akosia.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Akosia.
It's always a pleasure.
So now you know handy tips for your healthy living. This is very, very important. Know all these, and then let that influence what you are consuming.